Hi, my name is Jeremy. I'm calling from Los Angeles.
Jeremy from Los Angeles.
And yeah, so first off, I'm a journalist here in LA, and the Majority Report actually inspired me to become a journalist. So thank you all for that.
Oh, well, thank you. Congratulations. Sorry to ruin your life.
Thank you. Yeah, exactly. But I actually wanted to call because, so one of the beats that I sort of focus on is psychedelics. And I haven't seen a lot of coverage on your show about psychedelics, and I think it's a really interesting field that you guys could get a lot of play out of. And it's like very interesting in the sort of like lefty space as well. And one of your big bads is pretty prominent in that space, which is Jordan Peterson. He, sorry, I'm a little nervous.
No, you're doing great.
But he is very prevalent in a lot of these spaces because, like psychedelics, he often promotes himself obviously as like a self-help person. And in the same way, psychedelics often are like, you have to do internal work so that you feel better. And you know, that's obviously partly true, but there are structures that cause systemic, bad, I don't know, like bad quality of life.
All right. Well, yeah. Well, Jeremy, let me ask you this. Okay. So is now I am increasingly familiar with like ketamine therapy is becoming like it's going around quite a bit right now. Psilocybin therapy. And I know many people who've started ketamine within the context of a therapeutic context. People who've done psilocybin, I know many people who have been started to do that as well. I've contemplated maybe doing some of that as well. I know there are it is getting like wide use right now, and the stories you hear are amazingly are that it's helping in terms of like things like alcoholism and things like trauma and all sorts of different things. I'm not sure it's necessarily our beat here. It might be an interesting thing to do, but
that's fair. But I think there's a lot in that world that I think warrants examination from like left-leaning spaces, like the Majority Report. Like, there were obviously a lot of mistakes that happened during cannabis legalization. The over-corporatization of that sort of industry led to massive inequality in who gets to benefit off of that system, leaves a lot of people in prison. And the same sort of thing is happening now with psychedelics. People like
didn't I read
Thiel,
that Peter Thiel had invested in psychedelic therapies? I feel like I read that a little while ago.
Yeah, I mean, they're like big. They're like these big people like Peter Thiel, who owns funds Compass Pathways, tries to patent psilocybin therapy so that they're the only ones who are going to be able to administer that kind of therapy.
Right.
I mean, it's the same kinds of like tentacles of capitalism that go everywhere. But a lot of people now in the fight to legalize and decriminalize are trying to safeguard against those mistakes of cannabis because, psychedelics are usually thought of as this like, free love sort of lefty, but it's not really how it's turning out.
It's medicine. And I'll tell you what, Jeremy, send us an email. And if you have suggestions as to like who might be good to talk about this or any pieces that have been written about it, that would be helpful. And I should also say this. Thank you for the call, Jeremy. Lefty Lucy corrected my pronunciation. I'm going to say it right now. Psilocybin. I don't even think I did right there. No. Here's the point.
Is it psilocybin?
I'm not going to say it correctly. Psilocybin. The chances of me saying it correctly are about nil. So I want everybody to sort of like internalize that and understand that right now.
Yeah, move on.
I am not going to be able to pronounce that. I can't even get abstentia correctly or modernity. Yeah, don't be saying that I'm going to pronounce psilocybin or whatever. I can't. I'm not capable of it. So people just have to accept that. I call them mushrooms, but I'm trying to be clinical about it.
No, just manage expectations. That's the key.
That's my point. People better internalize this right now because I don't want a bunch of IMs about it. Got to start an online mushies store called Cybercillin.